What up, Big Chiefs, and welcome to the debut episode of Circles and Blunt Pencils with me, Cake Champion. Circles and Blunt Pencils. What a weird thing to call your podcast, right? Right. Why? Because they both have no point. Like this podcast, except when it comes to wrestling. That's right. Circles and Blunt Pencils is my own wrestling podcast. Always wanted to do a podcast of my own, so I thought, why not? Just give it a crack. So I am. Fastlane was on this past Monday, so I'll be talking a bit about that, and also the Raw and Smackdown that followed, also a bit of NXT as well. With it being March 14th actually, as I'm recording this, 15 years ago today, was Wrestlemania 20. 15 years ago. That's crazy. Could never forget The Undertaker coming back as the dead man against Kane. Also, John Cena winning his first championship in WWE when he beat The Big Show. There was also Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. Evolution defeating The Rock and Sock Connection in a 3-on-2 handicap match, which was actually both Randy Orton and Batista's WrestleMania debuts. Could never forget that snooze fest between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar as they, right before they left WWE. Unfortunately, they both had to come back. Anyway, also the triple threat main event between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit. That was definitely a good WrestleMania. Also, it's WrestleMania season. Speaking of WrestleMania, in fact, WrestleMania 35, 3.5 weeks away. And what comes with WrestleMania? NXT Takeover. The main event of WrestleMania weekend, in my view. NXT Takeover. I might be talking a bit about that and WrestleMania 35 as well. But before I get into that, this past week, I actually attended a World Series wrestling event down in Hurstville. And wow, that was really good. Second row, right next to the entrance. It wasn't a massive stage or a big entrance, but it was still good. World Series Wrestling is pretty much a Australian independent wrestling promotion where they get a few of the Australian wrestlers and put them in matches usually against American independent wrestlers. They usually do a tour. This time they did 5 days, starting from the Thursday, finishing up on the Monday. SCU was out here, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, who are actually signed to AEW. Can't wait for that to happen. Speaking of SCU as well, stars of Being the Elite. Don't know if you've ever watched that show. But with Being the Elite, Marty Skrull and Flip Gordon were also there, as well as Joey Ryan. Got to meet all of them, which was pretty cool. Brian Cage was there as well. Abyss and Austin Aries. They were also there, and they actually had an impromptu Monsters Ball match, which involved Abyss choke slamming Austin Aries through a table with thumbtacks on it. That was seeing the thumbtacks fly everywhere. That was pretty crazy. No wonder they called intermission right after that. Robbie Eagles as well defended the title and successfully defeated Brian Cage for the World Series Wrestling Championship, I guess. For them, so that was very good. It's hard to pick which was better between that and WWE Super Showdown, because I also went to that. I think atmosphere wise and just the brand WWE Super Showdown was better, but being close, second row, like that show for me is right up there. So it's pretty tough to decide which was better. So I'm just gonna say they were both equally good. I'm gonna sit on the fence with that. Anyway, enough about me and what I do in my boring life. Fastlane. I said we're going to talk a bit about Fastlane. Fastlane was on Monday. Not going to lie, I thought it was a great pay-per-view. Definitely one of the best, in my opinion, that they've done in a very, very long time. Let's see, we started off with the Usos successfully defending the Smackdown Tag Team Championships against the best tag team in the world. That was a joke from the get-go, I think. The Miz and Shane McMahon. I thought that was a good match, especially to kick off Fastlane. The Miz can wrestle. I'm just gonna say that The Miz he can put on some good matches. always gets criticised, but, it's unwarranted, really. There was one spot where, I can't remember which Uso, was going to the top rope to perform a splash on The Miz, while Shane McMahon was going to perform the coast to coast on the other Uso, who was basically crouched down in the corner. They both jumped at the same time, and Shane McMahon actually speared the Uso performing the splash. It took me a couple of seconds to comprehend what was going on, but I thought that was really good. How'd that match end? With a roll up, I'm pretty sure, and the Usos did retain. The Miz took the pin, and obviously this whole storyline's been built around the Miz's dad, and how he's never been proud of his son, and wanted him to team with Shane McMahon and blah blah blah. So obviously he was sitting front row after the match. The Miz and Shane obviously go up to him and have their little chat, and yeah, you did all right by me, son, and I'm still proud of you, and blah blah blah. And then Shane just starts beating up the Miz, a turn that you could see coming a mile away. Shane McMahon is a heel. I don't get it. Yes, you're Vince McMahon's son, but you're not Vince McMahon. And the Miz being a babyface just doesn't. He needs to be a heel. I think the only reason it did work was because it was in Cleveland, where the Miz is from. So they get that bit of heat there. But yeah, overall, I definitely thought that was a good match. Oscar defeated Mandy Rose. Sonya Deville, obviously with Mandy Rose, was outside looking under the ring for weapons for some unknown reason. Left the apron in the ring, or hanging on the ring, and as Mandy Rose is running off the ropes, she quote unquote slipped on it, but when you watch it, she actually just stood there and then fell over. And they sort of teased a split between the two, which I thought was really strange, especially with Shane just turning on the Miz like 10 minutes before that happened. There was a backstage segment. This whole thing with Kofi Kingston, now he's in the WWE Championship picture, all because Mustafa Ali was injured, had a concussion, could not compete at Elimination Chamber. Kofi performed in the gauntlet match and wrestled for over an hour, and then in the Chamber went down to him and Daniel Bryan, which was, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was awesome. They even, they dangled the cherry, I think that's how you say it, in front of you, like thinking that Kofi was going to win, but then didn't, and now everyone just wants him, to have a championship match. So they did this thing where, Vince wanted to speak to Kofi, and, Kofi just didn't go in the office or whatever, and, like Vince is telling Kofi that the WWE Championship match is now a triple threat match. New Day's getting excited, so, go to the ring, Kofi, because your match is next. And then, so he goes out there, and it's a handicap match against the Bar. I don't know, like, I love the Bar, I really do, but they get put in some shit matches. Like last year at WrestleMania, they had to defend their tag team titles against Braun Strowman, and he had to have a partner, so he picked a 10-year-old kid from the crowd. So it's essentially a handicap match, and the Bar loses, and I think the match only went for like 2 or 3 minutes. And then at the Royal Rumble, they had to defend their titles against Shane McMahon and The Miz, who are not proven as a tag team, yet they win. Smackdown, the tag team title picture should be the Usos and the Bar, and also the New Day. You can still put Kofi in the WWE Championship picture, but you still got Xavier Woods and Big E. So I don't know. Like, I feel like they have something against the Bar, but the Bar's the best thing going around right now, apart from the Usos and now the Revival. Speaking of the Revival, they had a triple threat tag team match against Bobby Roode and Chad Gable and Aleister Black and Ricochet, the recent demotions, if you will, from NXT to Raw, and Smackdown. They're actually pretty much on, 3 nights a week on TV. The Revival did win that, and wow, I thought that was definitely a good match. The Revival's good. I don't like them. I really don't, but they're a good tag team, and it's about time they actually got the tag teams on the, I guess you could say, quote unquote, main roster. I thought that was a good match. A match I was unaware of because I didn't watch the pre-show was the Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship with Samoa Joe, Andrade, R-Truth, and Rey Mysterio. Samoa Joe, man, that guy's a beast. He was a beast in TNA. He was a beast in NXT. And then, he's sort of floating around. He gets a title match he had a match, I'm pretty sure, against Brock Lesnar for the belt. But yeah, since being on SmackDown, he had that series of matches with AJ where I don't actually think there was a proper finish in any of those matches. It either ended in a screw up on a pinfall / submission, or no contests, or DQs, or something. That was really, the WWE rivalry between Samoa Joe and AJ Styles was not the same as a TNA rivalry between Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. R-Truth, I don't even know what that guy was doing with the United States Championship. Now thinks he's John Cena. And that worked out really well for him, having his open challenge. The SmackDown before, actually, where they had a Fatal 4-Way match between the same people, where Samoa Joe won the belt and then cut an amazing promo afterwards. Every time Samoa Joe holds a microphone, you just know everybody wants to they're just like on the edge of their seats. They just want to know what he has to say. I think it was before the Elimination Chamber, actually. I'll just track back a little bit. Where he came out and basically just ripped every single person in the ring. And I think Jeff Hardy said something to him, and Samoa Joe basically just said, Jeff, why don't you just treat this like an AA meeting and shut your mouth until it's your turn to talk, or something like that. But it was just brilliant. And Andrade and Rey Mysterio, oh boy, have they had some good matches. I will be speaking about them very soon as well. The women's tag team championship match, the Boss and Hug Connection defeated Nia Jax and Tamina. Yeah. Hey, actually, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I actually didn't watch this match. I was, don't know what I was doing. It was something obviously more important, but I did actually catch the end. Beth Phoenix was on commentary. One of the beasts, I'll refer to them. I don't mean to be rude, but threw Sasha over the table, and something happened, and then Beth Phoenix got in their face, and they tried to do something, and then Natalya came down because of her and Beth Phoenix, good friends, pals back in the day, and so something could be brewing up there. The next match was the WWE Championship match. Daniel Bryan defeated Kevin Owens, and as I said before, it was a triple threat match. Mustafa Ali came back, and unfortunately for Mustafa Ali, the crowd did not react because everybody wanted Kofi. And I believe for the first 5-10 minutes of the match, the crowd was chanting, "We want Kofi, we want Kofi." But they did turn it around and put on a hell of a match. And there was one spot where, I want to say Daniel Bryan was on the ring apron, and Mustafa Ali performed a 450 splash in like the narrowest of gaps to hit. You screw up left, you end up on the ropes, and you screw up right, and you just end up on the floor, and he just nailed it. That was a good match. And also, I'm so happy to see Kevin Owens come back, and just basically just put straight into the title picture, which I didn't expect, but I guess that sort of builds towards the whole Kofi Kingston and the ultimate underdog story. Speaking of ultimate underdog stories, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. This is without doubt, to me, the worst thing going in wrestling right now. You had it. You teed it up at it. I don't even know when they teed it up, but since Mania last year, it was always Rousey and Flair at Mania 35, and that got screwed up at Survivor Series. Even just before Survivor Series, when Becky Lynch, brought on the man, she became the man, and then Survivor Series is coming up. She goes to Raw, she beats down on Ronda, and then Nia Jax breaks her face, and it gets screwed. The match that everyone wants to see. So then they have to quickly put Charlotte Flair in to face Rousey. And by that stage, that was done. That was dead. Okay, they got that out of the way. That was ruined because they could not build that up the way they should have, especially for Mania. But I guess, injuries happen. You have to rush into that. Look, that's fine. But since then, the match everybody wanted to see was Rousey and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, she has her match against Asuka. Well, she was still champion. She lost to that TLC because Rousey came out and was being a dick. And that's putting it politely because I really hate her. And then, Lynch loses to Asuka. Matter of fact, she taps out, which is really weird. Why? Maybe because, they want to say, oh, no, she can tap out, She's human after all, or whatever. And she goes into the Rumble. You knew she was going to win the Rumble because it was always going to be Rousey and Lynch. So something happened to Lynch and she got thrown into the steps or thrown over the steps or something. The funny thing I found was, speaking of the Rumble, which is when this happened, I apologise, she's on the ground and she's holding her right knee. Okay? She's holding her right knee. And then straight away, maybe something was said, she starts selling the left knee. I don't know if anyone noticed that. They even showed it on the Raw. I can't remember when, but they showed us a picture of it, the still frame on the big screen. She was holding her right knee. And then, starts selling the left knee. And, someone needs to teach her how to walk on crutches because that was bad. Speaking of that match, what happened? It's pretty shit. Flair had her in the... What's her move? The figure your legs out. Was it figure 8? She's got that in. And then old fucking Ronald McDonald comes down to the ring. Anyway, so before I get into that, what was happening was Lynch was suspended. And Vince added Charlotte Flair to the match for WrestleMania. And then... that's why I was saying before the ultimate underdog story and, Becky Lynch had to defy the odds and, everyone starts saying, oh, she's like Stone Cold, she just defies everyone. She's not Stone Cold. All right, get your hand off it. No fucking way is she Stone Cold. Okay, well, she's the man. The man is dead, okay? That thing is done. It has died down. Anyway, so they put this match together at Fastlane. It was originally supposed to be for the Women's Championship because Ronald McDonald handed it over the week before because of what happened to Lynch. And then she comes back and cuts this just pathetic promo. I won't talk about that because it pisses me off. Shits me to tears. If Lynch won the match against Charlotte Flair, she'd be added and it would be a triple threat match. So hence Ronald McDonald comes down, kicks Lynch in the gut, and then just goes and stands in the corner thinking she's king shit. So obviously, disqualification happens. Becky Lynch wins. Woohoo! And then Ronald McDonald just walks out of the ring. Charlotte Flair just stands there like a stupid goose. She's just ruined your opportunity. As if you wouldn't just go over there and beat the crap out of that bitch. The main event, the returning Shield, who reformed, one last time. One last motherfucking time, according to Seth Rollins. They defeated Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. I liked it. I thought it was a good match, especially when it turned into a brawl and just went all over they went through the crowd and, through the announce tables and this and that. That's when it was good. When it was just in the ring, I sort of see your point. But yeah, when they just, when it turned into a real Shield match, yeah, that's when I really got into it. Bobby Lashley is just I don't know. I think he must have left his brain in TNA, because that dude is clueless as all shit. It is really funny to watch. The week before Fastlane, who'd they have? I think they had Kurt Angle. They're going to beat him up with a chair. The steps. So McIntyre is holding up the steps. Corbin is holding up Angle, and Lashley is basically like a tennis ball going between them all. So basically McIntyre saying, go hold Angle. So he walks up to Angle with this stupid look on his face, and then Corbin's like, go get McIntyre in the stairs. So he goes back to them, and he looks like a lost puppy, sort of like, here boy, come here boy. That's what he looked like. And again, in this tag match, he's got one of the guys from the Shield, can't remember who, and he's gone to tag, I think he went to tag Corbin, and Corbin's just like, no, you're meant to tag McIntyre, and he's pointing at McIntyre, and Lashley's just got this stupid look on his face. Yeah, that dude is, he's on some shit, that's for sure. And what I liked at the end was there was no turn, because all you read, like all this stupid crap you read on the internet, it must be true because it's on the internet. Oh, Dean Ambrose is going to turn on me again. No, thank God he didn't. Basically, what one turn and you tease a turn, that's more than enough. I hope I didn't miss anything from Fastlane. I'm sure if I did, I will remember. But for the moment, I can't. So we will go to Monday Night Raw, the night after, and I'm just trying to think what happened. The Shield came out and was basically like, yep, we are going to go our own way. Obviously Rollins is preparing for Lesnar at WrestleMania. Kurt Angle also came out and announced that WrestleMania will be his last match in WWE, his retirement match. It'll be interesting to see who he ends up wrestling. I think Ronald McDonald came out and said something. I don't know, what was it? Like, everybody's fake and the crowd are a bunch of bitches or some shit. I don't know. Every time she just walks out, I want to poke my eyes out, and then when she grabs a microphone, I just want to stab myself in the ear so I don't have to listen to anything that comes out of her mouth. Speaking of bad promos, Triple H and Batista. Oh my God, where do I begin? Hopefully I don't. Speaking to my cousin about it the other day. Shout out Chris, how you going? He was asking me about Triple H and Batista, and I believe my response was, first off, gay, and then I thought it was 2019, not 2005. So basically what happened here was 2 weeks ago on Raw, they were celebrating Ric Flair's 70th birthday. So obviously, that finishes off the show. They want to give him a celebration. And his, a few of the legends come out. Shawn Michaels, Ricky Steamboat. I hope I'm right. I hope it was Ricky Steamboat. Kurt Angle and Sting came out. And then, okay, let's bring him out. Let's bring out Ric Flair, and his music plays. He's nowhere to be found. Oh, where is he? Oh, play his music again. All right, we'll play his music again. And then, you cut to the back, and there's Batista dragging along a cameraman to Ric Flair's dressing room. And he's like, stay here. So he goes in there and then just drags out Ric Flair. And then, says, oh, hey, Hunter, do I have your attention now? And then he says something else that sounded like a squeal or something. And that ended the show. So, the week after, last week, Triple H comes out and is just like, which one was this? Oh, this was the this was this is real. It was the this is real promo. Oh, Batista. When you step in the ring with me, you're not going to be facing the character. You're going to be facing the man. You're going to be facing the man. And then, he's like, oh, come meet me face to face and I'll give you anything you want. I will give you everything you want. Blah, blah, blah. So, this Raw, Triple H comes out. Blah, blah, blah. Yep, Batista comes out. Surrounded by about 20 rent-a-cops, security guards. And they, I don't even know, what was I going to say? It was fucking terrible. And basically Batista's like, oh, you know what I want. Give me what I want. And Triple H is like, I'm not going to give you anything. I'm not going to give you a damn thing. But hang on. Last week on Raw, you were saying, I'll give you everything. And this week you're saying, no, I'm not going to give you anything. I'm pretty sure Batista screwed up a few times. Didn't really rate him on the mic. It was more just a physical specimen. I think he was the Braun Strowman before Braun Strowman, to be honest. But yeah, it turns out they're going to have a match at Wrestlemania. Whoa, didn't see that coming, especially when, Smackdown 1000 hit and Batista came back and, mumbled a bit of words and said, oh, Triple H has done everything except beat me. It's like, oh no, I wonder what will happen here. Yes, people, I am doing a sarcastic face as I say that. Braun Strowman destroyed another car. Wow. I mean, that dude's awesome. He tips a truck, and now he rips apart a car that the guys from Saturday Night Live gave him. Like, man, that guy's this guy's really cool. Like, oh yes, he's awesome. Braun Strowman's the man. Fuck me. Anyway, moving on. What else happened? The main event was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. Roman Reigns comes out and gets attacked by Drew McIntyre. Roman can't compete, so Rollins and Ambrose are there to help him, take him to the back, and Dean Ambrose is like walking around all frantic as he always does, and sees Triple H, and Triple H, how's Roman doing? He's like, I want Drew McIntyre tonight. All he had to say was a Falls Count Anywhere match, but instead, what does he say? Like, no count outs, no holds barred, fight anywhere, and basically tries to describe every single hardcore match there is. That was actually pretty good. Drew McIntyre is the man. Okay, Drew McIntyre is the man. I've said it since the Rumble that, yes, okay, Seth Rollins did win the Rumble. He should have gone to SmackDown and wrestled Daniel Bryan, because that would have been a belter of a match. And then you have Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. That's a match. God, that's a match. Anyway, it was actually pretty good. They went up in the stands and they basically went all around the arena. Drew McIntyre stabbed Ambrose in the face with a pencil, and I thought Renee Young was going to have a heart attack. Dean Ambrose got caught in between those hand railing things, and McIntyre hits a Claymore, and then wins the match and destroys him again. But the Shield was nowhere to be found to help him. Ooh, of course, they just need to dangle that carrot is what I meant to say before as well. I apologise. But yes, they're just dangling that carrot. Oh, what's going to happen with the Shield next week on Raw? Who knows? SmackDown. What happened on SmackDown? Shane McMahon came out with his Best in the World trophy. That's the size of one of my basketball jerseys, I guess, maybe even bigger. Comes out and basically says, yes, Miz, me and you are going to wrestle at Wrestlemania. Oh, what a shock. It was 8-man. It was basically just full of tag matches. There was an 8-man tag that got interrupted by the New Day, I'm pretty sure. They just started ripping apart everyone, because of what happened to Kofi. They sort of teased the Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville split again. I can't remember what happened, but Mandy Rose did something that cost Sonya Deville the match, and then they left the ring basically saying, "Do you think I meant to do that? I didn't do it on purpose. Come on, let's go, let's go." Speaking of that 8-man tag match that was on, the Hardy Boys back together. Matt Hardy has come back. He's put in some work. He's definitely not the Matt Hardy of old, especially when, there was word going around 6 months ago that he was going to have to retire. Anyway, moving on. What else happened? There was another tag team match. Charlotte and Becky came out for a bit of a boring promo, which I don't understand why they are on Smackdown now when they're competing for the Raw Women's Championship. But they weren't on Raw to confront Ronald McDonald. Don't know what's going on there. Randy Orton, AJ Styles promo. Wow. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It was, hey, no pun intended, it was phenomenal. That was great, because they actually had a little bit at Fastlane. That's right, because Elias was performing concerts. He performed 3. I knew I'd remember something for Fastlane. I apologise. And Elias was saying, it's so good to not be interrupted anymore. And then Orton came out and RKO'd him. And then Styles hit the phenomenal forearm. And then on SmackDown, they've had a bit of words backstage, last couple of weeks. And Orton's come out and basically saying, AJ Styles, when you were wrestling in high school gyms in front of 10 people for $10 or whatever, I was making my debut 2004, you were wrestling in bingo halls and I was the youngest world champion. And then Styles came out and, basically was saying like, because you never had help. You've always had help to get where you are. And, you steal people's moves, because you ripped off the diamond cutter. And then, Orton saying like, yeah, because you've never stolen anything before. And, you throw up the Wolfpack sign from the NWA Wolfpack, which is now used by the Bullet Club. And they're teeing up something, and Styles is saying, let's go at Mania, and Orton just leaves. I actually called this just after the Rumble. I thought of some predictions for Mania, and I said Orton and Styles. Not because I thought it was going to happen, but because I really want to see it. I have wanted to see this match for, I want to say 14 to 15 years, especially when I started watching TNA and saw AJ Styles and Randy Orton's, always my favourite wrestling, obviously apart from Stone Cold. But yeah, I always wanted to see it, and I am certain it is going to happen at Mania, and I can't wait. What else? Okay, Vince McMahon. The other tag team match also, was Daniel Bryan and Rowan against Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali. And I'm pretty sure that match got interrupted by something, I think. But yeah, we ended off SmackDown with Vince coming out and, Kofi, come out here and, you've done good for 11 years, but you're not championship material and blah, blah, blah. And he's just, yep, I'll do whatever it takes. So on SmackDown next week, Kofi Kingston has to defeat Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, Rowan, and The Bar in a gauntlet match. He wins that. He's going to wrestle Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. My prediction for that match is Kofi will obviously win. The last person to come out will be Randy Orton, and AJ Styles will come out and interfere, cost Orton the match, helping Kofi win, sending Kofi to wrestle Daniel Bryan and making Orton snap and wrestling AJ Styles at WrestleMania. that was so that was Smackdown. NXT was on today. NXT needs more TV time. They're in the middle of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I actually haven't watched NXT in the last couple of weeks, but I knew I was going to be doing this, so I actually watched it today. The Forgotten Sons defeated Mustache Mountain in the semi-finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Bianca Belair defeated, I'm pretty sure it was Io Shirai. Actually, no, she didn't defeat her. She was in a number one contenders match, and then Shayna Baszler, the NXT Women's Champion, decided to interfere. I don't know how she's the Women's Champion because she walks, talks, and acts and sounds like a man. I'm not even kidding. It is ridiculous. So she interfered, and then Kairi Sane came down to help out Shirai because they're good friends apparently. But yeah, Baszler basically had the last laugh, and as she was leaving the arena, I think, she was informed that it will be a fatal four-way match at Takeover for the NXT Women's Championship. I'll talk about that a bit later on. Also, DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Fuckwit were in a... Oh, sorry. Always do that. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Toolbag in the semi-finals against Aleister Black and Ricochet. Aleister Black and Ricochet won that. Johnny Dickhead faked a knee injury, so basically leaving it to be a handicap match, and Aleister Black and Ricochet won that. And Ciampa and that blondie that's married to Toolbag basically helped him to the back. Tommaso Ciampa was teasing that he was going to throw him, into the signboards or whatever that are at the back on the entrance. And Johnny Fuckwit caught onto him and basically threw him in, basically splitting up DIY, which would have, I dare say, teed up those two at Takeover for the NXT Championship. But unfortunately, Tommaso Ciampa is out injured. Serious neck injury. Pretty sure he had surgery. It's hard to tell because NXT is taped, which pisses me off. They only get 40 or 45 minutes TV time. They need at least an hour and a half. They could throw in another match or two there, another couple of segments. Because you see a wrestler 1 week and then you don't see him for 2 weeks. Speaking of not seeing wrestlers for weeks on end, Lars Sullivan, supposed to be the next big thing. He's the call up. He's gonna come from NXT and take over Raw and SmackDown. I haven't seen him. EC3, where's him? As Dean Ambrose said, where's EC1 and EC2? That's the second greatest thing Dean Ambrose has done in WWE. The first one was eliminating Johnny Fuckwit from the Royal Rumble. Yes, I do not like Johnny Toolbag at all. So yeah, that leaves the back to NXT with Ciampa being out injured. That leaves the NXT Championship up in the air. I do know what's happening because it is pre-taped. But until it's on TV, I will not say what it is. Or actually, I might have to because I don't know what they've shown on TV. So you know what? I will. If you watch NXT, don't listen for the next 5 minutes if you don't want me to ruin it for you. Because unfortunately, it's been ruined for me. So I actually do feel your pain. NXT TakeOver New York. Cannot wait for this. So, the Dusty Rhodes Classic, Tag Team Classic, In 2 weeks' time, apparently, that's what they said on TV today, the Forgotten Sons will face Aleister Black and Ricochet. The winners will win the Dusty Road Classic and will face the War Raiders for the NXT Championship at Takeover. I will leave that one to the imagination. I will not say that. I do know that Pete Dunne will be wrestling Walter for the United Kingdom Championship. Pete Dunne's been the United Kingdom champion for 600 and 1,000 days, it seems. Velveteen Dream, my man, the Velveteen Dream will be defending the NXT North American Championship against Matt Riddle. Oh, I'm so disappointed now that he is the North American champion, because he should be in that NXT Championship match at Takeover. He should be the NXT champion. That match they had at War Games, him and Ciampa. Wow, that was amazing. Yes, I'm very high on the Velveteen Dream, and I am not the only one. There are a lot of WWE superstars that you see on the Twitter that are very high on the Velveteen Dream. He will be defending against Matt Riddle. What's he? Hey, bro. Also, the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship. As I said before, Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane. For this one, I'm going to go Bianca Belair. I think she is going to win. I think she's going to become the new NXT Women's Champion. And thus ensuring that Shayna Baszler will get demoted to Raw and take Ronald McDonald's spot. Because, everyone seems to think that she's leaving, and I hope they're right. You'll also notice I say demoted. I said it before with Aleister Black and Ricochet. That is because NXT is the big leagues. What Raw and SmackDown, what they're doing right now, it's not up to par with NXT, in my opinion, and I'm not the only one that thinks that way. It is a demotion going from NXT to Raw or SmackDown. Look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Look at Bobby Roode. Look at Drew McIntyre. Unfortunately, look at Andrade right now. Just look at all, these big names. Finn Balor even. So Shayna Baszler will probably get demoted to Raw. And hopefully she'll follow in Ronald McDonald's footsteps anyway. Okay, if you're an NXT fan and you're still listening, block your ears right now, because as of now, the NXT Championship match, excuse me, at Takeover will be Johnny Fuckwit against Adam Cole, baby, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Adam Cole, baby, is taking this all the way because he's the man. And what will happen? Undisputed Era will get back their NXT Tag Team Championships. And unfortunately for my man, the Velveteen Dream, he will drop the title to, I dare say, Roderick Strong. Undisputed Era will have all the gold in NXT, and they will rule NXT. I'm saying it right now. If it happens, hey, there you go. You can remember that you heard it here first. And if it doesn't happen, well, Velveteen Dream will still be the North American champion, and Adam Cole, baby, will still be the NXT championship. Championship. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Okay, moving on. Wrestlemania 35 coming up. And also, just quickly, in between NXT TakeOver, which will be on the Friday in America, so the Saturday here, obviously WrestleMania the Sunday there, Monday here. The Sunday in Australia, Ring of Honor at Madison Square Garden. Cannot wait for that as well. I might even talk about that in the upcoming weeks. Okay, so at the moment, WrestleMania 35, we have Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins for the WWE. It says, WWE Universal Championship. you'd think Seth would win that, but then again, everyone thought Roman was going to win last year. So hey, you know what? Go Lesnar. I hope Lesnar wins. Why not? We got that triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. Ronald McDonald versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Gee, I wonder who's going to win that. Speaking of that sickening promo on Smackdown, does Charlotte Flair come up with anything of her own? Really? You know, what she thinks that she's her dad. She thinks she's Ric Flair. You know, ooh, woo, woo. Now she thinks she's Shawn Michaels calling herself Miss WrestleMania. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, get out on your bike, mate. The dude behind me at Super Showdown was right. You do have a dick. Sorry. Buddy Murphy will be defending the Cruiserweight Championship against the winner of Tony Nese and Cedric Alexander, which will be on 205 Live next week, I'm pretty sure. I'm not really up to date on 205 Live. I do apologise. But I do enjoy watching the championship matches with Buddy Murphy in them. Triple H Batista, no holds barred match. I'm just going to watch their rivalry in 2005 and just, enjoy that. Kurt Angle versus To Be Determined in his retirement match. And Shane McMahon versus The Miz. Yay, did not see that coming. I do think that match will open, but I have heard that Shane McMahon does like to be the curtain jerker, as they say. Kurt Angle's match, I think he will be wrestling John Cena. I think John Cena will come back and respectfully ask to wrestle Kurt Angle. John Cena basically debuted against Kurt Angle, I'm pretty sure. And John Cena also inducted him into the Hall of Fame. Also, a match I do not see yet. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Yes, I'm very high on that match. I cannot wait. Another match I do think will happen will be Andrade versus Rey Mysterio. And I do not think it will be your regular match. I do think it will either be a hair versus mask or a hair versus career. I think Rey Mysterio's time may be up. But I hope I'm wrong, because that dude can still go. I've been watching him for the last 22 years. I love that guy. I hope he never goes away. What else? The Usos. I think they need another match against the Bar. Really, they have some great matches. Also, Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, which leaves Kevin Owens out in the dust because he just came back. Title match. I think he should turn heel, effective immediately, and turn on Mustafa Ali. Give them a match at WrestleMania. That's all I can think of right now for WrestleMania. That's I think that's pretty much it for me. That's it for me, I think, for today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, Circles and Blunt Pencils. If you do listen to this, you are a wrestling fan. Maybe you have some of your own predictions for WrestleMania or beyond, or even NXT, or just anything to do with wrestling in general. You can hit me up on Twitter. Yeah, that's right. Circles and Blunt Pencils is on Twitter. You better believe it. At Circles and BP Pod. Okay? At Circles and BP Pod. So that's the at. CIRCLESNBPPOD. I hope I spelt that right. I'll say it one more time. I do apologise. At CIRCLESNBPPOD. We're on Twitter. Hope you enjoyed it. I am Cake Champion. Circles and Blunt Pencils. Baby!